Is everything okay? You need me?
I have no idea. Let's see. I'm just gonna see if Restream wanna start it up.
Okay.
It is nice. All right, so we're live. Hey everyone. And I need to mute myself, otherwise I'm gonna go crazy. I hate hearing double when you start a live stream and you hear yourself talk, and it's like, no, thank you. All right, so welcome everyone. Another Spec 3.0 meeting. Before jumping into the agenda, does anyone want to introduce themselves? No? All right. So jumping right in, Magic, is this your point as well?
It should be probably, yeah.
All right,
Yeah, but as I remember, but as I remember, we probably should discuss it, but not by the issue or something like that. Yeah, in the previous meeting, I had some instinct that probably we have a problem inside the component section where we define the security schemas, because as the definition of components, that the components definition means that it's a reusable parts in the specification, yeah. But if we define the security, we exactly first need to define some security schemas inside the components, and then use that security inside the server security or in the operation security by not the reference to this security schema by the $ref, but by exactly by the name of the key. Yes. So yeah. So maybe we should move the security schemas outside the components, and it will have the same, I mean, the power like the channels or the servers, yes, the same level.
So your suggestion, or at least the discussion, is instead of having the security components or the security object within the component section, you want to move it out into the root.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we can leave the component, the security schemas inside the components, but it will work.
Reusability.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can, you want to define the Essence API as the registry for your all documents, yeah, in your company, and then make the reference to the given security schemas, yeah. So you only change in one place, not in every, yeah.
What was the reason behind wanting to move it out into the root?
Because everything, I mean, maybe it's only problem with me, with my thinking, that everything from the components except the security schemas we reference by the $ref, yes. So we exactly point to this object, and it's exactly the same reference when we make the referencing. But with the security schema, it's some convention, but it's exactly copied from the open API. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, let's see if I can share it here.
Yeah,
so within the server object, you can define specific security requirements for that specific server. However, the way that it functions is that these security schemas must be defined within the component section and not within this server specifically. That means that you are referencing it regardless, but it's
referenced by the name.
Yeah, exactly. It's referenced by the name, and then we are kind of mixing between reusability and where you actually define the security requirements object specifically for both the server, but this application or wherever the context is.
Yeah.
I guess it relates to, I think we had a feature request for wanting to specify security requirements per channel as well, right? If I recall correctly. I'm not sure if any of you can remember it.
No, I don't know about this.
It's already in version 2.4.
Oh, it already is? I can.
Yeah.
Then it
should... the operation, not on the channel, yeah? Did you say
on the operation? Yeah.
Yeah, the operation.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. Do you have an issue for it, Magic? Or
Nope. Yeah, but I will create this after this
What,
meeting.
what about we just leave it on components and we don't add anything on the root level, but we change the referencing mechanism from by name with using $ref. So from the server definition or from the operation definition, we just $ref the one in components.
Yeah, but you must remember, yeah, that you reference the security, yeah, inside the server operation by the name. So you define the array of object, the security requirements, and you exactly define as the key the security name, and then add the scopes. For example, for the out to 0. Yeah, so this is the problem. So probably if you want to make the reference by the $ref, we need to change that representation of the object, something like the the definition and then scopes, something like that. Yeah. So so yeah. So it can be a problem. Of course, we can still have these components. Yes, for me, this is not a problem at all. But I have only this problem that that we say the component is reusable, but the security schemas works in different way. Yeah. So.
So I think it all comes down to a bigger concern on the spec, which is we should be defining what the hell is components and what is not.
Yeah.
And also, like, what does it mean that something is in components and something is outside components? So for me, for instance, the way I see it, and the proposal that I did for the publish subscribe and so on, which is fixing much more stuff than just publish subscribe, is whatever is outside components, it means that it's going to be used, is happening, it's used, right? And whatever it's in components is it might be used or may not. Right? It may be used or may not. Like it's there in case, for reusability purposes, but it's also, you might want to throw something there and you might use it in the rest of the document or might not. But whatever is outside components, it's like, no, this is used for sure. Like there's no doubt, it's always used. So I think if we make clear this difference, then yeah, we can of course have one in the root and another one in components. And the one in components is actually just for, here are a few of the security mechanisms. You may or may not use them. And the one in the root of the document will be like, these are the ones that I'm using.
Yeah.
So that actually I'm using. That's why I was saying like, maybe we should be referring by using them. I mean, it should be like guessed from scanning the server's object and scanning the operations object. And this way, which ones are being used and which ones are not. But yeah, because otherwise, if we move them to the root, we create another key on the root and we call them security schemes. What if you place a security scheme definition there that is not being used anywhere in the document? Should it be possible? Doesn't it belong to the components section? So that's why it becomes another components, but just for security schemes.
Yeah.
Another reusable part. So maybe we should rethink the whole security object. Yeah, and the way we define it. We don't have to map OpenAPI 1.1, right?
Yeah, but define the definition of the security as for per, the security and something like that.
Yeah, but
and then you can use the references.
Yeah, but my concern is that if we create another key in the root object, it will be like another component, and then we will have to be enforcing and checking the rest of the object and making sure that these security mechanisms are being actually used. And if one of them, even just one of them, is not being used or referenced somewhere, then it should throw an error, because this is not a place for unused stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We can use the optimizer or even the spectral. Yes, yeah, but it's on the
I think the parser should be triggering an error in this case.
Yeah, by the spectral. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, underlying technology. I think.
Yeah.
This is our parser.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Okay.
like any parser in the world, right? Like,
yeah, okay.
That's what I mean.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, do you want to create some, proposal, or I should? Because probably I understand your idea.
As you prefer. You want to do it?
I can, but you will have the contribution in the GitHub. Yes, this one.
Okay. I'm sold.
Okay. No, really. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll just put a note here. Tell Matek to create the issue.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for the agenda?
Yeah, but I remember that in the Open API they starting the discussion about the next major version, yes, the 4.0, and as I remember, one person exactly have the same problem, yes, with so maybe I don't want to say that they make the collaboration or something like that, but give the information that we want also to fix that problem. Yeah.
It's a good reference to keep, right?
Yeah. Okay. After the meeting, I will probably find it and pass in the comment in this thread. Yeah, so no problem.
But I was listening everything you say, and I have to say I don't see what's the problem really. Like, I mean, like you can't really replace current way of linking between security and the security scheme. You can't replace it with ref, because sometimes you add the scope information. So how do you?
Yeah, but it is the scope information, yeah, but not the definition. This is the problem. You make the reference in the security, yeah, by the name,
yeah,
and not by the definition. I mean, if you want to see that, if you want to show the definition, you exactly should move to the security schemas in the components, yes. So it's something like that, like the convention. So if you want to know which type of security you need to to create in your application, or use to authorize to the application, you should exactly see the component sections, not inside the place where you define the security. Yeah, do you understand or
no? No, not really. I mean, I can like especially in OAuth, right? So I can have different scopes per operation or per server.
Yeah.
So you're saying that I should describe these scopes inside components?
No.
So I definitely don't understand.
No. The problem is like in this way. Yeah, you have something like the pet store out, and this pet store out, the name is exactly reference to the some security mechanism described by the key inside the component security schemas. So you need that key inside the component security schemas, and this is a definition for the security. Yeah, and the main problem is that the components say it's reusable parts, but the component security schemas takes the part in the specification that you exactly use it, but you don't need to do that. Yeah? Like the France say that the channels and the servers, is used. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
One thing, like maybe not for sure, we'll have to change the shape of this object, right? So we could probably be saying something like security requirement, pet store off. Extra information, write pets, read pets. You know what I mean? So that's how you will do it, and then instead of pet store off as a string, you use a $ref to the pet store off mechanism. So you don't reference by strings anymore. You still use $ref, and you can still extend with extra information like OAuth to scopes and so on, right? But this needs to change. The way it is right now, it's not possible, right? This object needs to be reworked. Does it make sense now?
Yeah, just changes driven by aesthetics or like some tooling issue. Because like I mean, do we want just to be consistent, or like, so I mean, do you see a problem that we sometimes ref by just a name instead of using $ref? Because we do it like with security, no, not security, with servers on the on a channel, right?
And sometimes it can be the problem, but then another discussion with this.
But we did it for a reason. Like we didn't choose ref because you're losing some information. That's why we choose string. So like looking from the top, like, do we always have to do we have to have some strong rule saying like always reference by ref? Like sometimes.
No.
Okay.
No, we don't have. But maybe we should. I mean, the one thing that but okay, I want to say
that is a bad rule to have.
Okay, but but one thing that we forgot when we defined the servers on the channel side, that if you make the reference, not all the tooling, I think the most known make the reference by the reference in the code. So it means that after the referencing, you have exactly the JSON, yes, that you can, for example, read in the JavaScript. And then if you compare the object defined in some components, and then compare the object that it's exactly the reference at, in some places, it's exactly the same reference, yes, exactly the same reference, you know, in the JSON. So we probably make the wrong decision when we define the servers, because we on the tooling side only can, you know, they should check the reference in the code, not the, you know, the reference by the name. Maybe you don't, probably you don't understand. I mean, you understand or not? Because I can say this in the other form.
If you're asking me, then yes, no.
So, I mean, understand or no? Because
yes, I don't.
Okay, I don't. Yeah. So, how to describe this? You have some message, in operation. You exactly made the reference in operation, and this message is described in the component messages. But then, after the referencing in the JavaScript code, after the parsing, you know, have some JSON. And then if you make exactly the comparison, yes, of your object, something like the Essence API that some channel, that this operation subscribe publish that message, compare to this same object inside the component messages, you will have that true. So this is the same references, and by this you can check if the given server, if the given messages is exactly used by the reference. Yes. So if we now jump to the server definition inside the channels, we can also do this, not by the string, exactly by the reference. But there is also the problem that the people will be able to define the servers outside the server's object, like in the Open API, that you can define the additional servers for the given operation. So do you understand this?
Yeah, but it's but it's like, should we even take into account this, that it's like in JavaScript I can do it, and it's nice to have it for tooling because in JavaScript I can do it. Like, shouldn't we just forget about this side? Because then in other languages it can be different, right?
it depends on how the dereferencing works. Yes, if the dereferencing, copy object or only pass the reference to the original. Yeah.
But then it's a problem of the implementation out of the specification, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can still have like what we have in operation. In the operation, we have a list of servers by name, not using $refs. You can still iterate on this array and inject the references to the servers, right? And then you can compare by reference in JavaScript or in other language. So you can. Thing is that this dereferencing mechanism needs to be built by you, or it will be provided by an existing library, like in the case of $ref. But
yeah, and also we should point in the, not in the specification itself, but maybe, some notes to the specification that this referencing should work in this way, something like that.
I don't think the spec should be getting in how the implementation should be done at that level, right? I think it's too much. It's okay to have a copy instead of a reference, as long as you're able to guess that these two are the same. Who cares, right? But I will even argue that let's say bigger problem, if at all, if it's a problem, is and that it's stopping me from proposing that we move away from $refs in most of the cases, is the code editor support, right? So the code editor, usually now all of the code editors support JSON schema, or they have plugins to support JSON schema. And this $ref mechanism is something that JSON schema is defining. So the code editor allows you to, for instance, jump by clicking on the link to jump to the referenced part. So it's easier. It makes it easier to navigate inside the document. If we reference by name, we lose that, right? So to me, that's a bigger problem. Still not a problem, but it's a bigger problem, if you will, right? More than just whatever implementation detail, right, that we will be supporting or something like. I mean, I don't think it's a problem. And with security, what I see here is it might be just an aesthetic change, as Lucas was saying, like I don't know, we should be clear on just at least, in my opinion, like the meanings that I was saying, that we should be clear on what having something in components means and what having something outside components means. And so, leaving it clear, like there's no doubt, there's no room for interpretation. But other than that, like having it as a key or as a reference, as a $ref or something like that, can you think on a bigger problem other than what I just described with the code editor or aesthetic change? Because aesthetics are very relative, right? You might like something that I don't like, and so on. So
it's only the descriptions, inconsistencies. What exactly is component and the outside component?
Yeah.
The only issue that I see is that one is explicit and the other is implicit. Because when you use $reference, it's explicit exactly where that's located. And if you use just a name, it's implicit that you know exactly where you need to look for that specific ID. And when you're this depends on how specifically you design or edit your async API documents, because if you use a tool for it, then it can abstract away from that problem. But if you manually edit those documents, then you have to know exactly where those names are referenced to, because it's implicit that you know it based on whatever the spec says it is. That's the main issue I have with it.
I think I'm bringing a bigger problem now that I'm thinking about. Like, we're assuming that these keys are present in components, right? And we're assuming that this server reference, this security requirement is inside the server, for instance, in the same document. But what if the server definition is in another file, right?
You need to also move.
You need to be careful because you will be referencing something that needs to be on the component on the place where this server is going to be used. So you cannot just reference the server and it will work, right? Because you need to reference the server and add the security requirement to the components for it to work. So that might be a bigger inconsistency, I would say, like in terms of reusability. Like when if we want to dissect the whole spec and make it reusable across many files, or even a central repository for the whole company where all the servers are defined, which is very likely to be, then in your async API file, you want to reference that remote URL where the server is defined, and it's saying, I'm using the pet store auth security requirement, but the pet store auth security requirement is not in your components section. So you will have to go there and add it again in each of them, instead of being able to add it in alongside the central definition in your central repository.
Yeah, we have the same problem also with the servers on the channels. And as I remember, we have also the issue for that.
Yeah.
That if you have in the component, define some channel in the component channels, and if you write the servers by the names, you must also remember that you need to define the servers, yeah? Because then, I mean, of course, if you reuse that channel, it's a problem.
Yeah, that's why I was saying
parsing a validation is, right? So.
Yeah, but you will have the the error, yes, but you will see the error that you don't have that servers. But this is the problem, that if you want to reuse something one time, yes, by the reference, you don't need to worry about the other things. Yeah, that I need to
So I understand, like for example, the bigger issue that Fran described, that's actually very valid. Like we give you flexibility, you can reuse, but not security. But in case of servers on a channel, why would you reference something outside the document? Like you should have these servers, like it's for your application, servers of your application, so you should have them.
In this case, it's the other way around.
Yeah,
like you don't have something external that is referencing something in your document. You have something in your document that will be referencing something external, and that's, in my opinion, that's fine. You should just go to the server section and add it and add them, right?
So there's two different cases.
So it's the same thing, but in different directions, right? So the reference is happening in different directions.
But in the next major version, you will be able, to, for example, to reuse the channels in this way that you will have the broker, or I don't remember how you define this example.
Yeah, but that's the point. So you can have a central repository of all the channels and all the servers and all the reusable pieces, right? And it will work because they're all in the same document, right? So these references to the servers from the channels, they will be met, they will be found because they're in the same document, right? But well, actually,
but if you want to reuse,
it's not gonna,
on the another, this is the problem.
Just using $ref is not going to work. so yeah, still a problem, I think.
But why not work?
Because when you use $ref, you're referencing the channel with the list of, unless we use $ref inside on the server's property inside the operation, right? Which, by the way, we should be talking about operation, not the channels. But or maybe not. Maybe
no, in the servers inside the channel, not the operation.
Services inside the channel. Yeah, the security requirement is what is on the operation. Yeah, true. I was now like, fuck, we messed up. But no. But Okay, so
You don't understand your specification? What? What?
not anymore. It's not my specification anymore. You're breaking it. It was perfect when I released it. And you're destroying it.
That's an overstatement.
Yeah, I wish, but no.
But you can also say, yeah, I probably
So the
understand
thing is that
because
if we use $refs in the server's property inside the channel, then cool, that the referencing mechanism will work and everything will work just fine. If we just use as it is right now in the server's property inside channels, we just list names of servers. When you reference from another file this channel, you're gonna get references, not $ref, but references to servers that are not in your document, and they should be. And then you'll have to go and redefine it again in your document, and another document you'll have to redefine it again in another document. So that's a problem. That's again the same problem. Like you have, whenever you want to reuse something, you can reuse it, but in 2 steps.
yeah,
And that is not really reusable. Right?
That's
yeah,
just
but
annoying.
you can also always use the traits, yes, but yeah, it's the
Yeah.
I mean
That's not. I mean, I'm already not happy with traits, to be honest. Like, I think it overcomplicates the whole spec a lot. But yeah.
but you can also treat the servers that defined in the channel as the servers that it's only available on the given channel. So it means that you don't specify the server on the root and say that the server is for everything, for example, but you change this meaning. So it means that the only one channel has the given channel. Sorry, the one server defined in the channel servers has only the one channel in this way. Okay, because at the moment you have 2 options. Yeah, you have the options that if you define the servers on the root and the channels, you mean that all channels, sorry, for the given server you can use the all channels, yes. But if you define inside the channel the server, you say that only the particular server has the channels. Yeah, but you can also have the options that you define that the given channel is only available on single server defined for this channel. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know how
Was it
to
just a
describe
statement?
in
It is,
the
yes.
yeah. Sorry.
It is, yes. It's exactly as you said. I mean, but it,
Yeah, but you need to define it. Yes. It means that the single definition of the servers is only for this channel, not for anything. Yes, for the other.
You're saying the server is for this channel, and that's what really sounds backward for me. So the channel is for this server. That's the relationship. So channels are in servers, in brokers, right? Belong to brokers, but not the other way around.
Yeah, but to define that the given channels.
You see, the servers on which this channel is available. It's not that the server belongs to the channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in this case, that if you don't have define the servers in the servers, but as the definition only in these servers. Yeah? If we change from the keys, from the strings to the server definition, yes, by the reference, for example. So you shouldn't not have a problem with that if you make the reference to some channels that have defined some of the servers, yes, that you don't have defined in your servers, because then you tell that this single particular channel is only available on that servers. Yeah? So it means that the servers it's really hard to explain me. Really I know
Maybe you
that
want
the
to
Open
share.
API, yeah, I know the Open API has probably very similar mechanism in the operations, because you can also define the servers for the particular operation. Yes, yeah, and by this you exactly write the definition of the server, not by the key. Yeah, so at all you don't need to have the servers, yes, defined by that in the servers sections, but only in the operation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
means exactly, that you have the another server, but on the server you can use this channel. Yeah,
All right.
not any other channels. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So do you understand that? No? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Great.
do now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding me.
Yeah.
Was there a question in this rant, or was it just
Yeah, that was my next question. Yeah.
magic? Was there a question within this rant, or was it
What a
just
question.
what I'm asking if there was one, because I can't remember.
Yeah. Is there a question in this whole rant, or it was just a rant?
It's only probably just the rant.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to show you, yeah, that the server
Yeah.
don't need to be, defined only in the servers.
Okay,
section.
now I know why I was lost. I was trying to understand the question and the point, and there was no question at all.
But by the way, yes, we discussed one thing, and we have the the two more items in agenda.
Yes.
Next meeting.
Next meeting. Yeah.
You mean we didn't even start talking about the agenda items?
Are we done with this item, or
No, I will create some proposal.
okay?
So are you going to create a proposal then?
Yeah, no problem.
Or is there an issue for that already?
No, I mean I understand. Yeah, the problem. So, the issue no. So I will
There's no
okay.
issue, no.
So
I
then
will
create
Yeah, the issue and
So
then the
then-
proposal.
exactly create the issue and explain, and then we discuss there if a fix is needed or not, right? Otherwise, it's
I mean, unless like it's not very complicated to open APRs, because like from my point of view, sometimes I prefer
sometimes,
to see APR instead of
yeah,
issue,
yeah.
so I can visualize what you mean.
Yeah, just don't go straight to a final PR at once. It's maybe you want if you want to throw a PR instead of an issue, just draft something quickly, just so people can understand what you mean. Just so you don't lose time and effort.
Before jumping into the next one, I just want to quickly mention that for the spec, the parser, and the JSON schema spec repo, all of them has this new next major spec branch, which are all set up to accommodate your IFCs. So this means that you can start moving them forward, all of them, all the way to the end actually, and get them accepted. I have pinged all of the champions for the issues that it is possible now to move all of the RFCs forward. So it's basically you can follow the RFC guidelines exactly as stated, but just target this branch when you create the PR and based off of it. Yes, that was it. Magic.
Thank you. And before Maciek continues, like Jonas, dear moderator, would you like me, because there are some comments in YouTube chat.
For sure.
I mean, it's from Sergio, so we can ignore, but like, it's recorded, so we shouldn't.
Get back to bed.
Yes, please read them, Lucas, because
do we want to read it because it's regarding the ranting we had? And
Of course.
if I read it, then we will probably continue. But yeah.
Yeah.
So Sergio wrote, I remember some discussion Jonas and I had on this. Okay, Sergio, sorry, Sergio wrote another comment. By the way, greetings, Sergio. I remember some discussion Jonas and I had on this, describing how bundling and referencing should work, and an alternative to this spec was to write those rules down in the parser API in order to unify behavior on parser implementations. But just I thought by then, lol, ignore me as usual. I was before the ranting actually. Yeah, sorry. That's it.
I think we actually have an issue for it, but it's nothing that has been specifically defined. Define how to handle dereferencing, because there's multiple reasons, and I don't want to go into a rant of why it's a problem, because I wrote a blog post about what we did. So it's not only a problem with referencing being hard to understand, because it means different things based on wherever you define it within the spec. But if you start to also allow, for example, that we already do with the servers and the names specifically, that could probably be discussed within this issue as well. But yeah, I think it's this he is referring to, if I'm not mistaken. Otherwise, he can leave another comment. Maybe I should open YouTube as well. Was there any other comments?
No, that's fine. You don't have to open it. I'm gonna monitor it now.
All right.
And
Magic.
Sergio added, yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. My next my next issue. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. So
By the way, 15 minutes left. Just in
yeah, I
case.
know that.
Have the time we have.
Yeah. So okay, so at the moment in the second version of the Essence API, we have the external documentation object and the contact object, yes, inside the info object. Sorry, that we can define that object as the single object, yeah, in some places. But I only thinking out loud if we should allow in the next version to define the array of external documentation. Yeah. And I will be faster than you. I don't have any production use case for that. But I only, wonder how the development of the spec should look like. Should really look like, yes, in the next month after the release of the tiered version. Because of course, on the spec side, it won't be the problem to, to allow define the external documentation as the single object and also as the array. But from the tooling side, it won't be the problem because, because in the parser.js by the intents, we change the returning type of the methods. Yeah. So people will have the problem if the given data is a single object or the array of the object, yes, of the given type. So yeah, and in the contact, yes, maybe you should also allow to define the contact as the array, yes, to some multiply, maybe person, maybe some, supports, etc., etc.
So this issue is for both allowing external docs as being an array, the
Yeah,
same
and
way
also
that
the contact, yeah, inside the info. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what do you think?
Seems to make sense to me, but yeah, like especially the contact, like I can understand that some companies want to have multiple contact channels. Yeah, it will make sense. Like for instance, email, phone, Twitter, if we end up adding also Twitter or something like that. But I don't know, but maybe this will be fields in the contact object instead of a collection. So for instance, we have name, URL, email. So instead of doing this, we can just add Twitter, right?
Yeah. But
Um,
this is the difference. Sorry, Fran, this is the difference because
Yeah.
in this proposal, I want to add several, the person, yes. Of course, you usually add the information or the contact to the API support, yes.
But
For
did someone ask for it or
no, to be
or is
honest,
it just
yeah,
whatever?
I
Because
said that I
I
don't
have the
have.
feeling, that it's actually a good idea that they don't do it. They just give one single point of contact, right? For that.
I mean,
Otherwise,
that's what you do with external documentation. Like the best the best practices, you should point to one single landing page where you can then
You have another
find those people.
documentation.
Yeah. And in contact, I guess it's the same. Like you wanna.
otherwise people will not know which one to use, right? Like I have two people to contact. Who should I be pinging? Right.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
That's what probably would happen. Like people would call each of and send email to both, and that's the problem.
And then it's the same as having just one.
Yeah.
But you'll make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I understand what you meant here. It looks like it makes sense, but I don't know if it's a good idea, actually. I don't know. Let's leave it there and see if it gets some
attention from community.
attention in the future.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the changes are not, the hard to implement. Yeah, so the change in the specs.
I know changing it is really trivial. I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Changing in spec, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Spec, exactly. And then all of the tooling. Now that's another question.
And for that, we need to consider on the next major version, yeah, because as I said, then if someone will want to the external documentation as the RI, we will have the problem, yes, from the tooling side, because we need to change then, the how to call that, not the returning time by not the definition of the method, yeah.
Return time?
Yeah, the return time, yes, of the given method, yes. So you will change from the single object to the array of objects, yes, and some templates won't work at all.
Yeah. This is actually one of the huge fears for the parser API, which is exactly we can't handle these changes in a way that makes sense. Because otherwise everything should be returning an array.
Yeah.
And that would be a terrible user experience as well.
Exactly.
Even description.
Anything.
You never know. Description, like, let's have a description for Spanish and another for English and another for I don't know. Someone can come up
as
with
the
a
object
list of descriptions.
The key
is
this the shortcut of the the languages.
So I don't know.
Actually, more useful would be something that already. Damn it, I forgot the name. This tooling, Bamba's Age. Bump. It's this service SaaS solution for that lets you document Open API and Async API. Like basically, lets you document API by just providing Async API and Open API. And as like from my background as tech writer, I remember that like reference docs is not enough. And you always have to add some additional information, like some introduction to the API, some more generic documents, and how they do it here. And I bet others do it as well. And it's actually, there's an extension some time ago I proposed, but yeah, there were many other things. But yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is that instead of having an array on external docs, it's actually useful to have docs or docs topic, whatever, new collection where you can actually reference or write additional documents for the given API. So you don't reference out, so you don't point to an external URL, but you actually put documentation inside the inside the async API or Open API, and they do it by reference. They just by extensions. So they have, for now, they're just extending the spec with the X dash, I think, topics, and you have basically a collection of title and content, title and content, title and content. And I know that I think that this one of the most known docs rendering for Open API, Redoc, I think it's called Redoc. I think they also support some custom extension. So yeah, just rambling about the external docs and usefulness of collection. More useful would be actually a collection.
Probably a good use case for the extensions catalog, right? Like to propose something there, iterate there, and then at some point we might want or not to integrate it into the core spec.
Yeah.
Right.
Just sorry for laughing, but I just remembered that we don't have extension catalog really integrated with any tools. So
I know.
So for me, always talking about the Explorer with extensions, yeah.
Yeah, I was assuming that we have something this year or early next year.
Yeah, actually, we will.
We will because we have people already.
It's one of the mentorship topics.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, I'm thinking long term, not just tomorrow or now.
That's why in the end I put it in the extensions because it's not critical. Even guys from Bump don't push for it. So I think I took over enough time for Maciej to not jump into the third topic. That was the plan.
Calculated.
Maciej, you have 4 minutes.
We can wait. Really, we can wait to the next meetings.
Which one is?
Yeah, the most very important.
Oh,
yeah.
you left.
That's a huge.
No, it will be fast. Only 2 minutes.
For...
Yes, and you will see, and you will say yes or not. Oh.
What the hell are we talking? What the hell are we doing talking about this other external docs contact when we have the other one pending?
This one will be the next first one we're gonna talk about, right?
Yes. This one is going to be.
It will be funny. It will be funny.
Trust me, it's going to be the next publish subscribe.
Maybe next time it's like a suggestion. Maybe next time it's good to ask others like what topic they came for the meeting, because like looking on the audience, I'm pretty sure Michael came exactly for the topic that we did not that we will not talk, because I know Michael was
I showed up because I haven't been here for a while, and I'm just trying to catch up again. So I didn't even pay much attention to the agenda, to be honest.
Okay. Because I know that in the past you were always also talking about like improvements in schema and
the versioning and also the referencing, yes, but only by the link, not by the
yeah. That's right. That's still something we're very interested in. But I'll start showing up again. I've just been very busy.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, then this is the next topic then.
Did you have a point, Lucas? You were saying it because something.
I didn't have a point because at the end Michael said that he didn't come for this topic, but I just thought that I assumed that he might. Then next time maybe it's just us as the audience, like if somebody came exactly for a given topic, then let's just do it first.
It will be good to survey, to ask people in the beginning of the call and say like, what issue are you joining for? And then we can follow the order of the most interesting issue, and then we can change the order of the agenda if that's fine. Maybe we cannot change it because some people have to leave or something like that. So
makes sense.
I agree.
Let's do that.
Or we can just be strict in the amount of time we can spend in each of them. So
that could also be a possibility. But it's hard to determine or estimate exactly how much time is needed for.
No, we could have been speaking about the security object thing at the whole meeting.
Probably.
We could
yeah.
have been speaking about it the whole meeting. Really.
But it also kept taking new subjects with it. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyone have any last remarks before finishing off? Anything you want to?
Let's just keep doing the great work, man. I think this is going great. We're going the great in the great direction. So I think version 3 is going to be much better. It's going to be very different. So
Agreed.
as well, it's going to be a pain probably to migrate to, or to create a migration guide or tool from 2.0
I mean,
to 3.0.
yeah, the migration maybe.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Can't wait.
converter
But-
probably will be easy, but converting the external resources, it will be the pain.
Yeah, so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like, but thinking in the long term, I think we're setting the base for something that will be much more powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah, which we cannot build with the current state of the spec. So yeah. So a necessary evil here.
As major versions always are.
Yes. Well, not always, but yeah.
All right. I
Some
guess
people
we
just
are
don't care.
calling it a day. Thanks everyone for participating and see you next time.
Right.
Bye bye.
Yeah,
Thanks.
bye-bye.
Cheers, folks.